So what I'm going to do now is we're going to have a mock region, and I want to welcome you to the Mars region of Narcotics Anonymous. So we're going to have a mock region right here. The Mars region is an 80% CBDM region. It is so nice to see that every NA area on Mars is represented today. All trusted servants are also here. They also can vote. We have completed most business today, and we are now on new business. All right. So, yes. Anybody? By the way, I'm unable to ask questions, and now I'm echoing. Yeah, let me unmute. Okay. So we have two topics of discussion today. One is a new virtual area is seeking to join the Mars region, and I've got here to present that. The other one is add a donation link to the Mars region website, and I seem to be. Anyway, by the way, I have no way of seeing questions. Danny, if you can jump in if anybody has any. Okay. Okay, so our first topic is a new virtual area is seeking to join the Mars region, and I will turn it over to Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm a grateful recovering addict. And I am an RCM from the area of our home on Mars. And so I wanted to, I'd like to present the following topic. Our home on Mars is a virtual area, and we would like to join Mars region of NA. And we've been collecting a seventh tradition for the past 2 months. We have electronic financial account through a service called Venmo. We have attended Mars region 3 times, and we have donated to Mars region twice. We have also purchased our online room through a service called Zoom, and we do have a year subscription. And we do have 14 meetings that meet 2 times a day. So we do have a policy in place, as well as all of our positions have been filled, including chair, co-chair, and I'm the RCM, and treasurer, secretary. We have an H&I chair, as well as a PR chair.
Thank you, Laura. So before we discuss the merits of this, does anybody have any questions for Laura? Any questions? Kelly?
Yes, I'm Kelly, and I'm an addict. I'm the RCM for the Central Valley Marineris area. Exactly how are you have an H&I chair and a PR chair. Exactly how are you doing that virtually?
Okay, interesting question. So our H&I chair will help facilitate online meetings, bringing H&I meetings into facilities who do not have, where members do not have access to the outside meetings to be able to get to the meetings. We will bring them virtually to the facilities. Does that answer your question? And then PR, we will be doing virtual events.
So someone physically goes to the facility?
No, it will be done all virtually. So we will help a facility. Somebody might have to, well, it should be all done. We might have to meet in person, maybe, you know, sometimes you don't have to meet. Sometimes we can get on a call virtually, and we can help the facility set up the online service. Sometimes the facility wants to use their own online service, and sometimes we will provide as we've chosen Zoom, as our service to provide for the facility.
Okay, I've got Joel. Do you want to ask a question?
And Rusty B has a question in the chat box also.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
I was just wondering, is the new area using consensus-based decision making?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. Rusty, did you have a question?
That was my question.
Oh, I thought that was Joel. I'm sorry. Joel, did you have a question?
Hi, yeah, I'm Joel. I'm an addict. I have a question having to do with, you said sometimes the facility wants to use their Zoom platform. My
Mhm.
question is this, is that because your Zoom platform is not HIPAA compliant?
Well, that, you know what, when we do H&I with our facilities we serve, sometimes they want to do it to be compliant with their insurance and their way of the process. So that is something that we work with the facility to serve them better, and that has to do with the HIPAA compliant. Although they might have, I know different Zoom accounts have different securities. So.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, Craig.
I'm an addict named Craig. Thank you, Laura, for being here today. I am the RCM for the south of the crater area. So I have a couple of questions for you. One is your area. Are there groups in your area? And if
Yeah.
so, how many?
14.
Okay, maybe you said that 14 meetings, 2 per day. Is that what you mean, 14 meetings or 14 groups?
14, in reference to the question, it's the same word.
Okay, because I know meetings and groups are different. So just wanted, is that one group doing 14 meetings, or you're saying this is 14 individual groups?
14 individual meetings. So for reference to groups and meetings, we're going to say it's 14 individual meetings.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
And my last question is, so what, other than I see you guys make financial contributions to our region, thank you very much. What other contributions would you say that by us accepting you into the region, how would you guys benefit our region?
Well, I believe that the greatest way we can benefit is, well, see, first of all, you know, just like each group is autonomous, you know, the area being totally virtual, whereas I think it just provides more of a choice for recovery. I believe, you know, we follow what happens in an in-person meeting will also happen in a virtual meeting, and we follow the traditions. And whereas, you know, maybe an in-person area may not be able to facilitate such as an H&I meeting virtually, our area can, or to meet with, you know, some public advisors, you know, through politics, or trying to, I want to say, further our public relations. We can do that, whereas some in-person areas cannot. So we're willing to work together, just in unity, just to further our primary purpose.
So you're willing to collaborate with us? All right. Thank you, Laura.
Matt would like to ask a question.
Okay, Matt.
Yes, I'm Matt, and I'm an addict, and I am the planetary delegate that goes to the Universal Service Conference. I'm just curious how we're going to work with you guys as far as collecting that conscience to take to the big Universal meeting on Jupiter next year.
So it would be no different than an in-person meeting, right?
Yeah, this is just our first experience with the virtual area on this particular planet. So I was just curious if you had any experience with how we would do that.
Well, it's going to be meeting virtually, correct?
No, the Universal Service Conference does meet in person. There may or may not be a virtual. It just really depends on how the Universal pandemic pans out between now and then.
Okay, well, you know what? We can cross that bridge when we get to it. As of right now, we can always appoint someone to be there in person, and maybe at a later point, there could be a topic brought up for, in consensus-based thinking to maybe change it to a hybrid so all can participate.
Okay. Does that satisfy your question, Matt?
It does, thank you.
Okay, Ron. And then Kelly.
I'm an addict, and my name is Ron. Laura, I moved from Saturn about a year ago, and upon moving, COVID-19 hit our area pretty hard, and I've been constantly getting these reports. We receive reports from our PR coordinator every month saying that PR is dormant because of COVID. But I see that you have your positions are filled for PR chair. Can you give me some idea of what type of PR functions you're having in the midst of our COVID? And I'm trying to see whether we can take some of these ideas back to get some things jump-started in my area. Can you help with that?
Sure. So one of our events we did was we did a virtual roundtable for PR Week, and we were able to bring in members to share their experience about how to have a online meeting, what kind of platforms there are. We also shared with them how to set up a 7 tradition, because a lot of our meetings are meeting online versus in person, but also sharing with our members, because remember, public relations is not just, it's furthering our purpose to the potential member, the member, the public, their families. It reaches beyond just our circle. So to be able to share, right now with the crisis, with our members, different ways to recover. And PR is ever more important now than ever before. So getting that information out and how to teach our members how to get that information out is important as well.
Okay, that's answered, Ron. Okay, Kelly, you got another question?
Yeah, not so much our question, but the members of the CBM area, we are very proud of the fact that we are all Martian born. We're all Martian born here, okay? And we're very concerned and object to any idea that there could be possibility that Earth-born members would be using the virtual participation to start dictating to our region decisions that don't affect members that have been born here, okay? And we will definitely oppose the request of a virtual area, since none of our literature says anything about virtual services anywhere. It all says local services. And so I've been sent here by my GSRs to this region to block this request. Because we have very much concerns that, Planetary is going to come in and take over, and they're going to use the majority of members that live on Earth and Saturn, fuck those guys, to start dictating to Earth, to dictating to Martian what is in our best interest. And we oppose this passionately.
Okay, so we were still at the question and answer phase. Before we get into discussion of that nature, thank you for that point. I'd like to take a straw poll. Would everyone using their chat, does anyone object? We already have one objection. Can I get a straw poll? If you support this, please raise your hand. And everyone here can vote. And I need help here. Please raise your hand if you support this.
Well, I can't raise my hand. Consider my check mark a raised hand. And also Mark has a hand up for question.
Oh, okay. All right, let's see. We are So how many people are here? Oh, hold on a minute. Let's let people vote. Raise your hand if you support this.
Louis, if you use the yes and the no down at the bottom, it'll count it for you.
Thank you. The challenge is I'm sharing my screen and I'm,
Oh,
yeah, so I'm not going to any of that. So
Gotcha.
thank you for that. If Danny, how many yes votes do we have? Or how many no votes? Let's start with that.
I only count one no vote.
One no vote. All right, I'm assuming that's Kelly. Kelly, would you like to address again, or is your point made?
Clearly, the CVM area is, you know, as the only true Martian-born members of on Mars are clearly outnumbered in this again, and you know, our voice is not going to be heard, and our concerns are not going to be heard again.
Well, here's the opportunity to share your concerns, and they will be heard, but they may not be agreed with. Would you like to share your concerns again?
Well, yeah, that you know, we don't the concept or the idea of what defines local services versus virtual services hasn't been defined and the boundaries clearly understood, and the risk of other planetary members becoming members of this area that will start a trend of starting another virtual area and another virtual area. And then all of a sudden we're going to have like 30 virtual areas of interplanetary members that are all going to be making decisions for Mars. That's wrong. That is just wrong.
Okay.
They don't live here. We live here.
Okay.
We risk our lives every day going to work and coming back. They're not, especially those people in Saturn. Fuck those guys.
Oh, okay. Would anybody like to change their vote based on that? Okay, so there is near unanimity on accepting the Mars area. Now, here's a difference between Chicagoland and much of the rest of the world. As my friend Sandy in ABCD likes to point out, we are a third concept region, whereas this would be a final decision. And we don't send stuff back to the areas, hardly ever. And areas don't, or the groups don't really complain. So some regions would now want to send this back to the areas to decide. In Chicagoland, it would be a final decision. So that's clearly something that your region, if you do go to consensus-based decision, has to grapple with. But we've been doing it for so long. I mean, people just don't, you know, they trust us on this matter. So,
Louis, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Pardon me. I would like to ask Kelly from that place on Mars, instead of offering a block, what's your alternative? And would your alternative possibly change the minds of the people here rather than just voting no in the spirit of consensus-based decision-making?
Yes, I think that in discussions with our other groups, with the other GSRs in my area, that we shouldn't rush into this decision right away and accept that a virtual area is exactly like our area. I think that if maybe we deferred this to an ad hoc to provide clear definitions of terms, virtual versus local, and maybe a service guideline of how local services will help our area or help you know, members in our area. None of these things are defined, and to assume that they are just the same and equal is just, my member GSRs in my area just absolutely militantly opposed to thinking that they are exactly the same when, you know, a virtual group is not the same as a physical group.
Thank you, Kelly. Excellent question, Mark. And what we're seeing play out here is a difference between CBDM virtues. The Midwest Zonal Forum is 100% CBDM, and you know, this would be a way that operated. Chicagoland region is 80% CBDM, and so, you know, but it's an excellent point. So, so your suggestion is to form an ad hoc. Is that what you're suggesting, Kelly? And talk about this?
Yes, an ad hoc that would define what a virtual area means versus a physical area, and how the definition of virtual services and how virtual services directly affect local services, enhance local services, and benefit local services, meaning, you know, the guys down at the cantina that are all jacking up on that new stuff that came out of the labs in the southern area, you know, they're all fucked up, and you know, those are physical people. Those aren't virtual people. They're physical people. You know, and how is that asshole in Saturn, you know, who doesn't care about us, you know, gonna reach that addict who's suffering, smoking that stuff?
Mm-hmm. So, Kelly, did you want to? What I want to suggest here, Kelly, unless you have some new information, is to.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Just one more. I just want to make sure that also, you know, it hasn't been substantiated yet, but we've had members that have attended some of your virtual meetings, and it is rumored that you're currently using the 10th edition, when clearly the 11th edition is the latest approved, and we have concerns about that too.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So we have a new, so there is a new proposal on the table to send this to an ad hoc committee. Is there? So let's get a show of hands. Who? So the choice is to either accept it as is or to send it as an ad hoc. You know, given my weakness as a facilitator, I can't look at raised hands. So either, and I don't know if you have the option of yes or no, but just raise your hands if you wish to form an ad hoc to look at this and then review this next month.
There is a yes and no.
Oh, there is. Okay. So vote yes if you wish to form an ad hoc.
How about both?
I'm sorry?
Doesn't matter.
How about both? Accept them and form an ad hoc.
Yes to accept them, no to form an ad hoc. How's that?
Well, let's see. Kelly, would yes to accept them, no to form. Well, you could do both.
Or go slower to deny them. That way you give all three options.
Okay, let's do it that way. Thank you for that, Danny. Okay, so vote yes if you wish to form an ad hoc.
And vote no if you wish to accept them, and go slower if you wish to deny them. It's confusing that way, but okay.
So you vote yes if you want to form an ad hoc, vote no if you wish to. All right, so what's the vote totals? Do you see any?
9 yes, 4 no, 1 go slower. So 9 to accept them, 4 to form an ad hoc, 1 to refuse them entirely, and 1 confused person that chose go faster, which we're going to assume is an abstention.
Okay, we are not at consensus to you know, accept them as they are. So I'd like to suggest that we do form an ad hoc and table this topic. Does anybody, now this is part of the challenge of doing it this way where I can't see you with my shared screen. Here I just said, does anybody object to that? I'm not hearing any objections, so that's what we'll do. Okay. Thank you all for that. That's our decision. We'll form an ad hoc and we'll table this and reconsider it next month. Okay.
I may have missed it, but what was the new area's name?
Our Home on Mars.
Can I suggest that we make Kelly and Ron from Saturn the two people that lead that ad hoc?
You guys okay with that?
Fuck those guys. No.
Okay, we won't use Kelly. Okay, so we can make that decision later. In Chicagoland, the facilitator has the authority to form an ad hoc. So